Welcome to the Box Score Sports Podcast.
Okay, Charlotte Hornets. Let's start with them. This is the NBA exit interview for the Charlotte Hornets. They were 44-38. They lost. They got to the play-in game and they lost to the Magic. I think it was 121-90. So they kind of got their butts kicked. Give me your pro for the Hornets this season.
I think it's first and foremost Con Knipple.
Mm-hmm.
I had him as rookie of the year. I think he kind of lost it because of that play-in game, and the voting got delayed a couple of days, and people saw he kind of struggled. He did struggle towards the end of the year, but he was plug and play, came in, set the NBA record for threes, isn't terrible on defense. He's kind of like a connector for all that they do. Kind of Klay Thompson-esque, but can dribble the ball, right?
Yeah.
Like he's not one dribble and pass it. I thought exceptional season. I guess it can change but any hesitation you had on him, like maybe some of his limited athleticism, you can see he has a role and he can plug and play, not just for the Hornets, but for like any team. This is like one of those guys you get on your team and you're like, we know what he is from a rookie. Now he can get better, and that's all a bonus. But even if he stayed like this for his career, you're like, home run.
Yeah, 42% from three. Yeah, he was amazing this year. Yeah. I put LaMelo playing 69 games. He had a pretty solid season, all things considered, but the big win for LaMelo and LaMelo fans is that he lasted 69 games. Last 3 years, 47, 22, and 36. So he didn't hit the last 3 years above 50. So getting the 69 games, seeing him gel with Miller and Knipple, and when those three guys were on the court together, how explosive that offense was. They were number one in the league in offensive rating for a couple months. Is when those three were on the floor, like their starting lineup. That's pretty amazing. That's got to be a pro for the Hornets as well.
Yeah, again, you mentioned the games played. He's had a lot of ankle problems. For this iteration of the team, to get that ball handling and passing is important.
Yeah. Okay, give me another pro you got.
Yeah, their coach, Charles Lee, I thought getting this team to play defense in stretches is probably the most impressive thing that he did. Now, it kind of faded at the end, and we'll get to that when we talk about like offseason and maybe things different. Because they have obvious limitations on this team, as far as defenders or size. But he got them that second half of the year to play at a high defensive level for long stretches. That's a thing, that's a sign of a good coach. They have a lot of offensive talent, but again, to your point, got a little more out of LaMelo Ball. We'll get to LaMelo Ball. He's not one of my guys. Maybe it'll get spicy here at the end. But like to get him under control a little bit to keep that offense going, I think he's a really good coach. And, they kind of knocked it out of the park with him kind of opening it up and going for some wins this year.
Yeah, I like that one. I didn't write him down, but that's a good pro. I have Miller as a pro. He did a little bit better than last year. He's still growing, and he played most of the year with a bad shoulder. That's what the shoulder wrap was for. So the fact that he stayed at a high level offensively with an injury and played through it, because it was probably something that wouldn't heal, whether it was surgery or injury. I mean, time to heal. He's like, I'm just going to play through it, and we'll figure it out in the offseason. So I think that's a pro as well. Just again, you kind of have like three guys that you could see something with Con and LaMelo and Miller.
Yeah, Brandon Miller is a really important player. The injury bug is a little concerning, like 27 games the year before. He got to 65, but like you said, with the wrap on there, like it took him a little bit. So hopefully he can have an off season of like improvement and not worry about rehabbing.
Yeah, agreed. Any other pros for you?
I'll throw it in here, just the Kobe White trade.
Yeah, I put that down too.
Especially if they can keep him when we get to the offseason. Like, just, again, they have a style that they like to play, maybe even need to play at this point. he fit right in there. Again, he had some injury issues too, but that's the type of dude that you can just keep the scoreboard rolling with.
Yeah, and he was very important the playing game before they lost to Orlando. Who did they play? Miami, right? Like, and he just went on fire, right? Is that correct?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, if I lied, we'll be told I lied. I also wrote down kind of finding some solid role players, especially some young ones. Zion James is one, and Colt Brenner, and then I call him Diabetes, but it's Diabate. We used to watch him on the Clippers, me and Luke, so we always called him Diabetes. But Diabate, um, you like Diabate, great energy guy, but he's going to be a fantastic role player. I don't think you really want him as your starting center. In the same with Zion, who's a rookie, and Colt Brenner. Again, already a young team, but you kind of have little gems, little snippets of maybe something more that they could provide, but at least they have a role in the league, and that's good for a young team to have.
Very true. And yes, Kobe White was 5 of 8 for 3 for 19 points in that Heat game.
He hit that turnaround three, right?
Yep.
Like it was
Yeah.
ridiculous. Okay. Let's go to some cons. Give me your first cons for the Hornets season.
So I put, since they kind of really exceeded, you talked about like seeing growth in them between Diabate and Kalkbrenner.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, I put down a con is like they're limited.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, they're both kind of like reserve guys, and it's really good to have. So it's like nothing against them. But if I'm thinking of like the Hornets now going forward during this season and this run, like especially towards the end, like they gave up 126 to Miami. They got blown out against Orlando. Like I think some of the smoke and mirrors that they were doing kind of caught up to them because Diabate's limited. Like the Pistons kind of went at him with their size in some of those games. Kalkbrenner, good like drop center in the paint, get some rebounds, get some blocks, but if you get them out on the floor. So I think a downside is like if you're thinking of improving off of this, these guys are limited and they have a specific role they'll need to play. But I think for the Hornets to continue to progress, they'll need to upgrade or change the other team to compensate for that.
Yeah, that's a great point because even like again, they can have roles, but that's why I mentioned good role players because if you talked yourself after watching the season that Diabate is a really good starting center in the league, you're not it's going to limit what your team is capable of. I think he's a good energy guy, and maybe Colt Brenner, like you said, is the same way. So, the fact that they don't have an answer at the center area and it caught up to him, I like that one. I did put the playing game as a con. 120, like I said, 121 to 90. They got just wrecked by the Magic, and the Magic they were having a bad moment. It's like catapult them. So it's just a bad taste to have in your mouth going into next season after everything you built off to get just spanked in that moment when the Magic was at their lowest and you were kind of like at your highest at that point, and not to make the playoffs, which you haven't done in a long time, and everybody was excited for you to get there. I got to go a con just because it's again a bad taste in your mouth.
Yeah, you hate to end the year kind of how they did.
Mm-hmm.
It happens, right? Like the Hornets exceeded expectation, but with the way they were rolling, and we were kind of like, oh man, if they can get one of the 7 or 8 seed, and then they got killed. Maybe Orlando kind of showed something, almost beat the Pistons, but
yeah, I would say like just even if they would have lost by like 5 points, I would have been like, oh well, you lost by 5 points, but it was like 30 points, and it's just like yeah, rough. What's another con you have?
I kind of put Miles Bridges like defensively. I mean, his shooting percentage, he shot like 33.8, and that's basically his career. So he's never really been 33.3. His career is 33.8. He's never been like a sniper. He had 1 year at 40, but it was a low volume year. But he's depended on his athleticism, kind of slowed down defensively, I thought, in stretches. Like he didn't give him like that matchup nightmare feeling, especially in some lineups. He's still a useful player, but I think maybe he's turning more into like a guy off the bench than your starting 4. And again, I feel like I'm picking nits on that, but he's been such a highlight factory for them, and that's kind of toned down. And I think defensively, he wasn't as sharp for the season.
Yeah, you wonder like with someone like him because of the young guys like with Miller, LaMelo, and Khan taking such more of a prominent role, if it's just like it's now a weird spot for him because even though he, like you said, he's still a good defender, like he can be a good defender. It's just weird now because the dynamic is like I'm not that important to this team, so the effort level, that kind of stuff could probably get in your head. Um, any other cons you got?
I did not.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, let's go to difference. What would you have done different if you were the Hornets this season?
It's tough. I thought that, excuse me, I thought they played it pretty good.
Yeah.
Um, they didn't blow it up. They didn't go all in. They kind of played the cards they have, which is great for the spot they're at.
Yeah, I think this is one of the hardest ones I had. I looked at like what big men were traded because I'm like, well, maybe they could have went like not an all-in move, but a move just to like get a big man that could actually like protect the rim just a little bit better and play like a big man role that's maybe a little bit more reliable than Diabate, but there wasn't a lot. I just thought maybe come out a little harder. I mean, a little bit more, not harder, but like focused early season, but like they were trying to figure themselves out. So like again, it's just very much a nitpick, but started the season off 16 and 28, so maybe just being a little bit more focused jumping out of the gates.
Also, don't choke like me when you're talking and forget to hit the mute button.
That's okay.
But
That's okay.
other than that, yeah, I think the Hornets, they played it pretty good besides
Yeah.
that slow start.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, grade their season for me.
4.5 stars.
Yeah.
I thought, like you said, it ended bad. I think it's a 5-star if they get into the playoffs and win a couple games or whatever. But
Yeah.
they far exceeded kind of what I thought they were gonna do.
Yeah, we both had them as a dark horse. Neither one of them had as a playoff, so we at least got that right. But I agree. I think 4.5 is a fair mark. And we could just do the knock off the half, just the way the season ended. Okay, let's go into their offseason, Clint. So here's what we got. It looks like they have a projected salary of 158. So they're like 45 under 40. Yeah, 40-ish under the luxury tax and add 10 to that 50-ish under the first apron. Kobe White is a free agent, so they'll have to figure out what they want to do with that. And Pat Connaughton is on a team contract. Everybody else really doesn't matter. Connaughton doesn't really anymore, but he's just a name I'm familiar with. So they have the 14th pick, and it looks like they have the 17th pick as well. So they got two first round picks in the draft. So what would you this offseason? What do you do if you're the Hornets?
Well, I think you got to bring back Kobe White. Hopefully,
Mhm.
you can get. I don't want to say a bargain, but hopefully some other team doesn't come crazy hard after him and give him a too big of a number. And then I think you just have to decide how you want to go forward. Do you want to like big game hunt and try to get in on some of these more proven players? Do you want to upgrade from Miles Bridges? Like, can you move off of that in a trade to get something more defensively or shooting minded out of the power forward position, or even just use him to get a different center? So they're kind of in that, like the Pistons we talked about last year. Like you made the jump. Now it's probably not going to be, the Pistons did it, but it's probably not going to be like 44-55 and then we're in the NBA finals. So are they just going to stay on the edges and hope from improvement from Knipple, from Brandon Miller, some of their other young guys, or do you start bringing in some talent or making some deals to kind of juice this up?
Yeah, I mean he, I do wonder like yeah, or you go like the route of not in as big as a way because the Thunder did it in a way that helped them win a championship, but kind of the Thunder where you sign like two vets that aren't going to like make you contenders, but will because you have a young team, so you bring in two vets that play a really like Harkenstein and a Caruso type of player. You know what I'm saying? And then like help the young guys grow, but they know their role and they'll play their role really well. Um, I think that's the way I'd go and just focus on development with your three young guys and see what you got with that.
That's, I would tend to kind of feel the same. Like you don't want to throw all your assets too soon.
Correct. I agree with that. Give me your long shot.
This is where we get spicy.
Yep.
He's a guy on my list. If I'm the Charlotte Hornets, LaMelo Ball is gone. I know the offense is incredible. The numbers show, but I think even like the play-in game against Orlando, like to me, he's not a serious player.
Mm.
He's like really good. He's got the size, the passing, he can shoot. But I think in some of his comments after the season about, play style and with, moving the ball around, I just think he's one of those guys that like the talent outshines the impact when you want to win. So if you want to stay in this range, 40 to 45, 46, 48 wins, fine. But I don't think LaMelo is the type of dude, if you're watching the NBA finals, the conference finals, I think if you're watching any of those against a good defensive team, you're probably not watching and be like, LaMelo Ball fits in here perfect with the kind of style to win. He's one of the guys on my list that if I was the GM and I could come in, he'd be the first guy out. But I practically, I know how it works when you have like a fan favorite and a dude that's been there and you finally start winning. So I understand the logistics of that. This is why it's like a long shot for me. But if I'm the Charlotte Hornets and I was in a room by myself and you take those all out, I'd be on the phone finding somewhere. And I'm not talking about dump them for nothing, but I would move off of that. And I would rather start Kobe White, bring in a different guard, and use LaMelo to upgrade my 4-5.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, it's hard because he's always been part of this team, which has been a losing team, right? So like obviously he developed bad habits. I guess like my thought would be is the same with like we talked about Asar too, it's just can we give it one more year? Can we give it a half a year and see if he because obviously he'll still be have value at that point. Not everybody isn't going to sour on him that quickly. So although I understand and I guess, yeah, I would just want to see it for 1 year that, now that you have a winning formula, what's going to happen next year if we just improve some of the pieces around the three. And that's what I would try to do. But I understand the reluctancy for sure.
Yeah.
Especially when he's firing 30-footers like in big games all the time, right? Yeah.
Yeah, like the 1 foot 30-footers like are awesome in January because you're like, cool, we're killing the team. But like Orlando was really kind of cracking down on defense, and he took a couple where you're like, all right, dude, like I get it. And you're right. For all practical purposes, you probably want to wait a year. But in my mind, I always think if you wait a year and it kind of flames out again, then teams really know. Like maybe they already do. A lot of people already have their mind made up for the good or bad on a player. But sometimes if you wait that extra year and it doesn't go good, then everyone's like, all right, well, now we really know.
Right. Yeah. LaMelo for Zion? No, I'm just kidding. That'd be your dream, right? Like,
put them on the same team.
Who won? They both fail. I put long shot. There's been rumors, but Bam Adebayo, if the Heat don't get Giannis, they might look to just retool. I don't think that'll happen though because the Heat are very high on Bam. So, and the other thing is like, okay, well, if you trade for Bam, what player are you trading? Like, are you going to give up Miller, Connor, LaMelo? You're probably not if you're trying to get Bam, right? So like, I don't know who they want. Robert Williams or KP are sort of interesting options. And then I put Rudy Gobert. If he ends up, I don't mind Rudy on a young team that needs defensive presence because he's still a solid rim protector. So, in my opinion, I still would maybe look at Rudy Gobert as an option, and it could help facilitate like a 3-team trade as well. So who knows? We'll see what happens there. Okay. Anything else on the horn? Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I think I was going to say like Bam is like the pipe dream, like perfect fit for this team. But unless they're willing to take like Miles Bridges and some picks, you're right. You're probably not going to get there. Those other guys, you're right. If they fall through the cracks, KP, even Rudy Gobert, if you want to give it a shot for a couple of years, Robert Williams, those are all like take shots at that. That's your getting over the top defensively.
Yeah, and it's not going to get you to a contender, but it's all about taking the next step. That's all, and he'll help you do that. Okay, anything else on the Hornets?
Nope.
Okay, let's move on then. For everybody that's watched on YouTube, please like and subscribe. Leave comments down below. Tell Clint how much LaMelo Ball is awesome. That's all you need to do. Okay, and all you need to do. Fun to watch. Okay, thanks so much for watching this clip of the Box Score Sports podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to our channel. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter or X. And we'll talk to you guys real soon. See ya.